You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Thursday Night AngryMarks.com Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. My name is DJ. Two co-hosts on the line with me today. First is Jason Harland, aka Great Sudoku.
What up, smegheads?
Smeghead!
You're a smee. You're a smee. You're a smee.
And we just lost 98% of our audience who's never watched Red Dwarf. But that's okay, because you and I get it, so that's all that matters. And joining us on the line is somebody who gets all things New Japan at stupid o'clock in the morning, our good friend Abby.
Hello, everybody.
Abby sounds about as happy to be getting to the end of this week as I am.
I'm very happy that the week is almost over.
Well, hopefully it's not killing you trying to stay up for Lionsgate, because I know that would kill me trying to get up at that hour to watch it. But I know you guys have also the Honor Rising cards to talk about before that, so I'm going to let Jason take the lead.
Sure, yeah, just a quick note on Lionsgate. It wasn't that bad getting up for this time. It was at 5 in the morning instead of 4:30 or 3 or 2. It was at a more godly hour of the morning than normal, so that was a relief getting up at 5 in the morning instead of stupid o'clock or pre-stupid o'clock. But yeah, we got to see some good action there. But I did want to hit some highlights of both of the Honor Rising cards. Just go through some of the things that stuck out to me, and Abby can chime in on this here too. We'll start with the New Japan Honor Rising card, the first one from the 19th. And first match that stuck out to me was Tetsuya Naito and Jay Lethal taking on Yoshihashi and Kazuchika Okada. And what really stood out to me in this match was the way that Jay Lethal sold an Okada dropkick, where he looked like he had just gone on a bender. He was staggering, he was zigzagging, standing up until a very last second when he slinked over and just like a slinky, just right down to the mat. He sold this dropkick in the most unique way you can possibly sell a dropkick. Anything you want to add on that?
Collapsed. No, he pretty much just collapsed. Staggered like he was drunk for a second and then just folded onto the mat.
Which was pretty cool. I have never seen anybody's, let alone Jay Lethal, sell a dropkick like that. This was the best selling of a dropkick I have ever seen in New Japan, in Japan, in all of Japan, in all of North America, in all of the world. This was the best sell of a dropkick I've ever seen. My hat's off to you for that one, Jay Lethal. But the big news coming out of the first night of Honor Rising was we had a title change. We had Roderick Strong defending the ROH TV title against Tomohiro Ishii, who ended up winning the title. Is there anything you wanted to mention in regards to this, Abby?
Really good match. I thought that Ishii was going to win going into it, so I was happy to see that they kind of shook things up a bit. Yeah,
they did. You called that. You were right on the money with that. I was going against the grain on that and saying, nah, they're not going to do that, but your logic prevailed. Although ROH, as you said, in your column on Top Rope Press, is doing something really stupid where they're not acknowledging that the title changed. And you said that they record months in advance, but it still seems very stupid not to record some little snippet of video that you can splice into the program saying, we've had a title change in Japan.
Or even do voiceovers on the commentary where they let everybody know that, hey, the match you're supposed to get tomorrow night, you're not getting.
It's now been made a three-way match, has it not?
Yeah, it's Roddy and Ishii and Bobby Fish.
So yeah, three-way match for the TV title. But there was Strong botched some really bad spots on the apron here, and Ishii took the brunt of them on the apron and on the floor. There was this backer that I think Strong tried to do off the apron to the floor, but it just ended up with Ishii just hitting the floor in a really sick way. It was really sloppy.
Yeah, luckily
but,
Ishii's not
we did have some
fully human.
Yeah, he doesn't have a neck, so there's nothing to injure there. Abby had mentioned in her Top Rope Press article that ROH did not acknowledge the title change of Ishii winning the TV title from Strong, and even their announcers were not putting over the fact that the match is now going to be a three-way match. Is that right, Abby?
Yeah, it's going to be Strong and Fish and Ishii for the title tomorrow night at their 14th anniversary show.
And
nothing was ever said about it.
The angle was that Fish was originally going to challenge Strong for the title at the anniversary show anyway, but then Ishii kind of threw a monkey wrench into those plans when he ended up winning the title at Honor Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Which was pretty cool.
I was so happy Ishii won.
He deserves, after losing the Never Openweight title, he deserves to have some title around his waist. And like you tweeted out live at the time, you said the ROH TV title looks good around Ishii's waist or something to that effect.
Yes, he makes that title look good.
That's what it was. He makes the ROH TV title look good. The man with no neck makes a belt look good.
Be nice to Ishii. He could kill us all by just looking at us.
That the evil stare of death. But yeah, he did manage to kick out of a superplex, followed up by death by Roderick, and then a knee to the head. Ishii kicked out of that. That is just impressive. And he did end up winning the match with a brainbuster. We have a new ROH TV champion, and as we've discussed, Tomohiro Ishii will be taking on both Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish in a three-way match tomorrow night at ROH's 14th anniversary show that I'm sure Abby will be covering.
Yeah, I think I'm going to probably have to end up covering it. I'm not saying I don't want to, but I think I'm going to probably end up buying it and, just so I can see Ishii. That will make me happy.
That match alone, that should be worth it. The three competitors in that, they always give their all. That's not one of those ROH matches that would induce an ROH-induced headache for me.
No, I mean, I'm not a big Roddy fan, but I love Bobby Fish. He is like the best troll ever, and I love Ishii, so that will make spending money pretty much worth it.
Yeah, I would say if there's the guy that's next in line after Toru Yano for you in New Japan would definitely be Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes.
Your love for him is only rivaled by your love for Mr. YTR Chaos.
Yes, Yano will never be superseded, but, Ishii is a very, very, very close second.
And boy, does he hit hard.
Well, he's a little pit bull, so of course he does.
He's the stone pit bull.
Yeah, he's the actual pit bull, unlike some other people who, they're trying to foster that nickname on.
AJ Styles. God, I got something in my throat here. Yeah, AJ Styles is not a pit bull.
No.
He's got too long of a neck for that. But there was another Honor Rising card that took place on the 20th, and there were just a few points that I wanted to hit on this card too. The first being that it was the last matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling for Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Yeah, it was a nice send-off for them in a way. They got love from the crowd and got emotional during the match and after the match. It was good.
There was some insane love from the crowd. After this match, the fans were chanting Gallows, and they were chanting Bullet Club, Bullet Club. All four members of the Bullet Club, they hugged after the match. Tama Tonga and Bad Luck Fale, they bowed to Anderson and Gallows. Anderson and Gallows then bowed to all four directions of the crowd, and then Anderson and Gallows got on their knees and bowed their heads to the mat for a minute. It was a tremendous show of respect by the fans to Bullet Club, and then conversely by Bullet Club to the fans.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a better send-off than AJ got.
Much better send-off than AJ got, yeah. Although, yeah, they didn't kick these guys out of the Bullet Club to send them off either.
No, but, AJ's, it worked for him as far as building Kenny Omega up, and, there wasn't really anybody for Gallows and Anderson to build up on their way out, so they just got all the respect and none of the humiliation.
true. And you mentioned Kenny Omega. That was another point that I wanted to hit on the Honor Rising show from February 20th. We had Kenny Omega come to the ring in a New Day shirt. How fucking cool was that?
Oh, that was great. And they're hell bent on getting a match with New Day now, so. With their titles that hold no boundaries, or no boundaries. I can't remember what it was that Omega said.
The six-man tag team champions.
Yeah, the titles that know no boundaries.
The titles that know no meaning. Oh, I mean boundaries. Okay. Boundaries, not meaning. It has some kind of meaning, I suppose, to somebody.
Well, we'll figure out what the meaning is, seeing how long is, depending on how long the Elite holds them.
And with these titles, you never know. They could hotshot them at the next New Japan show after the New Japan Cup.
Never can tell with them these days.
Never know. Heck, they might even drop those on a Ring of Honor show. You never know.
I think they're going to be. I'm not sure if they're defending them on the show this weekend, but I know all three are going to be there.
If they do, there's a good chance the title might change hands. Because it has changed hands 5 times since its inception, like a month ago?
Mm-hmm. As long as Ishii keeps his, I'm happy.
If he can get the ROH TV title, I'm fine with that. He can hold that for as long as he wants to. He'll do better with it than Roderick Strong did. But we also had your guy, Toru Yano, in this match take off the turnbuckle padding and tell the Angry Marks listeners what exactly he did with this turnbuckle padding that he took off.
He swung for the fences with this one. He blocked super kicks. He knocked Nick Jackson's head off. He knocked Matt Jackson's head off. And literally swung like he was, trying to hit a home run at Kenny Omega. It was just great. Those turnbuckle pads got great action that night.
He was swinging it like it was a baseball bat. And he, like Abby said, he was swinging for the fences. He was blocking super kicks with this turnbuckle pad that he removed. It's his signature spot, but he took that signature spot up a level by using that padding as a baseball bat. And damned if the Elite wasn't selling it too, like they just got shot with a gun.
I know, it was so good.
I mean, this is turnbuckle padding. This is soft stuff. You get hit with it, it's just like, oh, you just cracked me in the head with a crowbar.
I think those turnbuckle pads, though, have some kind of support in them. So it's not like he's hitting them with a Q-tip, but there's a little bit of support in them.
A little bit, but it's not like they got a steel bar or a rod or something in there.
No, it's not like he's whacking them with a 2x4.
No, that's Hacksaw Jim Duggan's gimmick. But that's what they were selling it like. That's kind of what it looked like. When he was swinging it, it looked like he was swinging a 2x4 or a baseball bat or a piece of lumber, and he took out the Elite with the deadly and feared turnbuckle padding from the New Japan ring.
Mm-hmm. It was perfect.
And
didn't win him the match, but...
No, it sure didn't. But that spot was still awesome. It's like, I don't know what was more awesome. Him using that turnbuckle padding as a baseball bat or Kenny Omega coming to the ring in a New Day shirt.
It was pretty much fitty-fitty.
But it's like everything cool was jam-packed into this one match right here. Of Toru Yano, Jay Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe, the champions, losing their titles to the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. And there was only one other match I had really wanted to cover on either of the shows. That was the championship match, Jay Lethal taking on Tomoaki Hanma for the ROH championship. Anything that you would wanted to say in regards to this match?
I only talk about random. I'm trying to figure out how Hanma even got into that match.
That was pretty random. And do you recall this one of the sickest spots maybe of the year, or one of the most disturbing spots you've seen maybe ever, where Tomoaki Hanma goes up to the top turnbuckle and he hits a Kokeshi headbutt onto Jay Lethal, only Jay Lethal is lying on the floor outside of the ring.
Yeah, that turned me off of everything about that match, because that was just so unnecessary and so unneeded, especially with everything that had happened in the weeks before with Brian retiring and all of that. It's like, really, there's not a place in the business for that anymore.
I'm glad he hit the move. I'm glad Lethal didn't move, because he would have taken that a lot worse had Lethal moved. Granted, he didn't hit it very clean, but at least he hit something other than the hard floor with his head.
True. But yeah, it was just ugly. I think everybody who we were live tweeting with was like, oh, fuck, oh no, oh god, why?
It was kind of one of those, ooh, yeah. I was like, it was impressive, but it was like, you're going to kill you. It was one of those, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die type chants if it would have been in an ROH crowd or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever please don't die in Japanese is, that's what the fans were chanting.
Yeah, and then after the match, the joining up of the House of Truth and Los Ingobernables and Bushi misting Hanma and Hanma's perfect reaction to it. And the end of the match was better than the match itself.
Yeah, Lethal went to go shake Hanma's hand after the match, and as he's shaking Hanma's hand, Bushi comes up and missed Hanma right in the face and the chest. And yeah, it looks like he got octopus ink all over himself.
Yeah, and Hanma's, turning in circles with his hands up, doing jazz hands like some 95-year-old woman at church or something who just found God. And,
I'm blind.
or just got saved or, could see again. Yeah, perfect reaction from Hanma.
Which was wonderful. And it was interesting to see the crowd at the beginning of the match. They were really split right down the middle. I mean, we almost had the Let's Go Cena sucks type chant with the Let's Go Lethal Hanma, Let's Go Lethal Hanma chants that the fans were doing.
Yeah, well, at least the Japanese fans know to cheer for the other guy instead of just cheering against the one guy. I wish that's something the American crowds would learn.
They seem to know that for the Honor Rising cards, but when it came to the Lionsgate card, it was a very New Japan heavy favorite crowd.
Yeah, it really was. I don't think any of the other guys got cheers at all.
Not much at all. It was funny listening to the fans cheer for Tomoki Honjo doing the Honjo chant. I'm like, they're just chanting Honjo because it's close to Hanma.
I don't know. They wanted those new young lions to go out there and just show some fire and kick some ass.
And they didn't do too bad.
I will be completely honest. After I've had a day of, no sleep and reflecting on the show, that was not a good show. There was like one or two good matches, but other than that, it was not a good show.
There were two good matches that I liked in this one, and again, I think it was a problem of matchups, and I think they can fix that by putting different young lions in there against other different young lions and putting young lions in there against established superstars. I wasn't really a fan of the main event with Nagata versus Kitamiya. It was just a very slow-paced match that was just kind of like, eh. But there were two just fantastic matches that easily could have been match of the night, and I'd really like to see these guys kind of move out of young lion status. The first match that really stuck out to me was David Finlay. We have Fit Finlay's son taking on a Noah junior heavyweight, Taiji Ishimori. This match was fantastic. There was David Finlay throwing forearms like only David Finlay can. Ishimori hit a springboard missile dropkick and followed that up with a plancha, taking out Finlay on the outside of the ring. We had Finlay doing that really disgustingly sick-looking leg submission where he wrapped Ishimori's leg around, Finlay wrapped it around his head and just torqued that leg. Just looked sick. Ishimori kicked out of a deadlift German suplex at 2.5 by Finlay. Finlay kicked out of a pile driver into a code breaker at 2.5, and it finally took a 450 splash from Ishimori to finally get the win over David Finlay. But yeah, I've been a fan of what I've seen of all 3'6" of Taiji Ishimori and Noah. And David Finlay, I'm kind of big on moving out of that young lion phase, and this match did not disappoint.
No, the match itself was good. I enjoyed that match. It was a little bit more competitive than I thought it would, because looking at those two next to each other, you would just expect David to completely overpower him.
Because he was so very little. With those forearms. Yeah. Taiji Ishimori, it's like, I tweeted out on Twitter, I'm like, wow, this guy has grown an inch about every time I see him on TV. He must be up to 3'6" now.
Yeah, he's a little dude, but he's freaking fast.
He is fast. He's got some high-flying offense, even if he is about Hornswoggle's height.
Yeah, that match was good. The next one that followed that one, Jay and, oh God, who did Jay face off against?
Yoshinari Ogawa.
Oh God, I was supposed to say Omega. I knew it started with an O. That one was good.
I expected a lot more from that match. I had higher hopes with Jay White and Ogawa, but I guess, Ogawa is no longer that young lion that I remember him from, in All Japan and then in Noah. Ogawa just kind of worked Jay White's leg for most of the match. He ended up tapping him out with a figure 4 leg lock. A good show of sportsmanship at the beginning where they shake hands. But other than that, it was just basically Ogawa working over Jay White's leg for most of the match.
Yeah, but the whole point of that was taking Jay off of that high-flying game that he's got.
Which made it a boring match for me because I like watching Jay White be that high flyer.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was good. It was good psychology in that match. Jay did some really good selling in the match.
Yes, he did. He did some good selling, and Ogawa worked it and worked it and worked it and worked it, and he won it with a figure 4.
But the best match of the night was Juice Robinson, and the fact that we can sit here and say Juice Robinson had the match of the night on a card.
This is another one. Yeah, Juice Robinson. He took on Katsuhiko Nakajima. This was right up there with the Finlay and Ishimori match, and this one was back and forth and back and forth. What about that spine buster that Robinson just planted Nakajima into the mat with? That thing was sick.
God, it was like I expected him to go through the mat.
It was like one of those Undertaker spots, or one of those things where Bam Bam Bigelow and Taz go through the ring. This spine buster that the old CJ Parker hippie from NXT put on Nakajima was just, it was sick. And then Nakajima kind of returns the favor on Robinson by decking him with 3 consecutive super kicks. It's like, oh my God, leave the guy's head on. His dreads are going to get kicked off.
Yeah, but that was easily the match of the night for me.
That was great. Nakajima got taken out with a lariat and a powerbomb pin, and he kicked out at 2.7 before finally coming back and pinning Robinson with a brainbuster. This one and the David Finlay match versus Taiji Ishimori, these are both, either one of them in my mind could be match of the night. We did have some interesting comedy spots too in the match between Tenkozy and Captain Noah and Genba. How do you pronounce his name? Hira Yanagi?
I think so.
But yeah, the fans.
Tenkozy.
The cool.
Tenkozy was having none of the bullshit from Captain Noah.
They were having none of Captain Noah's shenanigans, and what I liked was when the fans started chanting Ko-Jima, Ko-Jima to that New Day Rocks cadence. It was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I expected a New Day chant to start. I would have, loved that.
And we still got to have one of the members of New Day. We got to get Kofi Kingston in a Kenny Omega shirt, maybe for WrestleMania to return the favor for Kenny Omega there. Get him in a cleaner shirt.
That would work.
But it was interesting. At one point, this was a comedy match where a lot of it was Hira Yanagi applying claw holds and low blows and mule kicks to Kojima's nether regions, although at one point both members of Tenkozy were locked up in simultaneous crippler crossfaces, so it wasn't all comedy.
No, but it was for the most part.
It was, and they ended up winning a match with the Cozy Lariat from Kojima, but it was great to see Captain Fucking Noah.
Oh, yeah, everybody loves Captain Noah.
He's even better than Captain
Kojima.
Japan.
Except Kojima, who's standing in the ring saying, "Quit cheering him, you know who he is."
He was not a fan of Captain Noah.
No, not a bit.
But
it wasn't a great card. It wasn't a horrible card. It was just, I don't know, it wasn't what I was expecting it to be.
I guess I was expecting more of the matches to be like the Juice Robinson match and to be like the David Finlay match.
Yeah, it was just kind of low key.
I was expecting more of that, and maybe it's like, maybe if you start taking some of the veterans like Ogawa off of the card, or you start taking, Nakanishi off the card, you start taking, Nagata off the card, and you start putting more young lions in against other young lions. I mean, heck, mix it up with guys that are already in New Japan, take Juice Robinson and put him in there against David Finlay. That would be a hell of a match.
Yeah, I think, though, this might be Nagata's vanity project. That's kind of what it seems to be to me.
Yeah, there was some kind of pre-match thing that I missed that you had reported on where he was kind of directing traffic from what I understand.
Yeah, it was just kind of a little, it was with 2 young lions that are going to be going into the dojo this month. The ones that we got introduced to at Wrestle Kingdom, right before Wrestle Kingdom. Oka and I can't remember the other guy's name. But yeah, it seems like this whole Lionsgate thing might be part of his, might be a little vanity project for him since he was out there trying to direct traffic between those 2 guys.
What was the date that was announced for the Lionsgate 2 show?
May the 19th.
Oh my God, May 19th, like Kane's May 19th? He better not be showing up at that. Fucking May 19th.
I don't think we'll have to worry about that.
How did I not catch that on Twitter at the time? How could I not snark on that? Wow. Because it's stupid o'clock. Well, it's not stupid o'clock. It's half an hour past stupid o'clock.
Yeah, but it was still rather stupid this morning.
It was rather stupid. It's like we've had some co-branded stuff with Ring of Honor and now with some Noah guys. But we will be moving to the New Japan Cup coming up.
Yes, I will be looking forward to that when it starts on the 3rd.
That starts on March the 3rd, and that's a little bit different from like what you're used to with the G1 Climax or Best of the Super Juniors, where it's not a round-robin tournament, it's a bracketed tournament.
Yes, but it'll be back to the New Japan action we all know and love without all of the other stuff worked into it.
And without having to get up at stupid o'clock for a month straight like you do with the G1 or Best of the Super Junior to cover it all.
Yeah, that's true. I don't mind getting up at stupid o'clock as long as you know it's worth getting up at stupid o'clock.
Yeah, I don't mind getting up at stupid o'clock, especially for Best of the Super Juniors and G1 because daylight savings time has already kicked in. It's an hour later, and the shows start at like 5:30 in the morning, which isn't too bad.
It's still pretty damn bad, though.
Still pretty early, but yeah, that's what's going on. That's the going-ons and the happenings in New Japan. Next thing coming up will be the New Japan Cup on March the 3rd. Stevie J, any thoughts you have on New Japan and Ishii winning the ROH TV title?
I was super impressed that Ishii won, and I was glad that you guys talked me out of my pick and thinking that Roderick Strong would retain and going with Ishii. I think that's very exciting going into the 2 Ring of Honor cards this weekend. It really shakes things up.
Yeah, I saw the new graphic. I saw the new graphic they put out today with the for Comet TV with Jay Lethal and War Machine and Ishii as the title holders, which it was kind of surreal looking at that.
It's a good thing, though. This is exactly what they both need to step up and say, hey, maybe all these guys are going from New Japan to WWE, but look what we're doing between New Japan and Ring of Honor. We're right on that same level.
Exactly. It's something new and exciting and fresh, so that's always a good thing.
Absolutely. Now, did you guys hear that the report on Nakamura's salary is he's being paid the same as guys on the main roster?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That to me suggests he's not going to be in NXT for very long. Like, they'll have him there for WrestleMania weekend, maybe tape a month or two of their shows, but I don't think they're going to pay him main roster money to stay on NXT for very long.
You wouldn't think they'd keep shoving Roman Reigns down our throats, but they do.
Well, I kind of like what Steve Austin just said about that on his podcast. He said, if they're going to keep shoving him down everybody's throats because Vince picked him and decided to run with him, then make him a heel. Go ahead and make him a heel.
Exactly.
It just seems
They're not going to do it, but I wish they would.
Well, on that note, maybe we should talk about Fastlane for a minute before we get into the rest of the wrestling news.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Let me hit the bottle here, so I'm in the right mood to talk about Fastlane.
Yeah, get your Nikolai vodka, get your Irish cream, whatever you need. Get something ready for it, because here we go. We got to get through this show. So, I know the general consensus just by the groans, but let me get some specifics. Abby, your overall thoughts on the show before we go into specific matches.
I gave it an F-.
Wow. Not one thing on it you liked at all?
I had to write a column after the show was over about 5 things we learned from Fastlane. And it took me 2 hours to come up with something positive to say about the show.
I remember that.
I'm going to circle the wagons back to that because there are a couple of things that I might be able to take away positive, so I'll see if you totally disagree with me. But Jason, your overall impression?
I gave it an F, yeah, when Top Rope Press put out their, voting poll on Twitter. I think I was the first one to respond. Bam! F. Was there anything at all that I liked about this match, or this entire card? Well, Becky Lynch is very pleasing to the eyes and to the ears.
Oh yeah, I guess I can't argue with that, but that's kind of what they hire anyway. They're not hiring strong style, the Joshi girls. They're not hiring girls that are there to wrestle as opposed to their looks. Sometimes looks come first, but at least with Becky, she can do both.
Well, you've got Asuka down in NXT.
Well, yeah, but she's good looking, but she's also scary. She scares the pants off most people, including blue pants.
She is scary hot.
It's a good way to put it. So let's start with Kalisto, Alberto Del Rio, and as my wife said, why are they running a commercial during this? I'm like, honey, there are some people who aren't watching it on the network. And she's like, yeah, really, that many people? I'm like, I know, it's dumb. They took one right in the middle of the freaking match.
Not only that, but why are they defending the WWE United States Championship on the pre-show?
Oh, you just mentioned why. Because Becky Lynch. They had to get her on the pay-per-view.
They had to get her on the pay-per-view, but they could have put Curtis Axel against R-Truth on the pre-show and moved Kalisto versus Del Rio to the main fucking card.
I know. So I'm sure this started Abby off on a very sour note considering her grade for the card overall.
I didn't like it. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't see any redeeming value to it. It's, Del Rio is just, unless they move him on to something bigger and badder that's not a dumbass feud with New Day, it has been another failed experiment.
But can we at least be grateful that they didn't job out Kalisto? Can we at least take that much from it?
I wouldn't care if they had jobbed out Kalisto.
See, I care just enough about whether or not they actually use this guy to the fullest of his potential that letting him actually keep the title and run with it for a little bit, I figure is better than nothing at all.
What's the point of having the Lucha Dragons if one of them is going to be the United States champion?
Well, I don't see much point to the Lucha Dragons. I would actually rather have Kalisto be solo and Sin Cara be wished well in future endeavors.
Oh, I like that idea, too.
All right, so Becky and Sasha versus Naomi and Tamina. I was totally perplexed that this was technically the opener of the pay-per-view, but Abby, what did you think?
Sasha is a star, and they need to get her out of these stupid tag team matches. She was one of the few high points of the show for me. But yeah, they need to get her away from all this crap and into a program with Charlotte and let all the rest of them just fight it out.
I'm going to give another one of my wife's reactions from watching this show with me. She hadn't watched much of NXT and not even that much of Raw compared to that, so her familiarity with the boss is pretty low. And when she saw her come out, she said, shouldn't she have more clothes on? To which I said, she's the boss. She can be the boss in anything she wears.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jason, your thoughts?
It was a match. It's interesting to see the ongoing tenuous friendship between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks that existed after the match when things went down. But yeah, it was the opener, and all I can really say about it is it was a match.
Every time the two of them are together, I immediately expect them to beat the shit out of each other. It's like it's hanging on by a thread. Like, they work together only because they have to, because they don't like the other girls more.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no other choice in it.
See, that at least, again, I can draw a very small positive. I'm looking for the small things on Fastlane because it's such a useless show. The fact that it actually makes me care about Becky and Sasha as a team is a very small good thing.
Well, you've got to get a microscope to be able to find anything good on the show.
Yes, indeed you do.
Well, there will be a point of argument. We'll get to that. We're not there yet. I will not argue that Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler was that thing because this was a terrible match. It went 15 minutes. I was bored for 13 of it. And the other two, I couldn't stop staring at Dolph Ziggler's hair and trying to figure out why he looked like Shawn Michaels circa 1996. Not a good look. Abby, your thoughts?
Yeah, the hair was just bad. The hair was really, really bad. That match didn't even need to happen. It was long. It was overdone. It was that those two need to stay as far away from each other as humanly possible.
In fact, I'm all in favor of Dolph Ziggler. I won't go this far. I won't say he needed to be future endeavored after this match, but if he went away for 3 months, I wouldn't be sad about it.
No, not a bit.
Jason?
Yeah, going into this match, I was already sick of the Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler feud, and this match did nothing at all to help that. I don't ever want to see these guys wrestle each other again. I have seen it all. As you said, it was about 15 minutes of the most boring shit that I've ever seen, and given that Kevin Owens is in there, I expected a lot more.
I'm trying to remember, there was one spot where I thought something good happened, and I believe it involved Kevin Owens audibly mocking him when he did a move to the outside, saying something like, show off this, and then hitting him with a big move. But I can't remember exactly what the spot was. That's how forgettable this Fastlane was.
Yeah, it wasn't just this match, as you said. That's how forgettable this entire card, this whole Fastlane, was quite forgettable.
Well, this wasn't forgettable, but only for bad reasons. Big Show, Kane, and Ryback versus the Wyatt family. So, Jason, you get to start on this one.
Just why at this point? What's the point of having Big Show, Kane, and Ryberg? Who's next to go over the Wyatt family here? What are they doing to the Wyatt family? Are they trying to build up the Wyatt family? Are they trying to break down the Wyatt family? Are they just going with 50-50 booking? I mean, the match made no sense to begin with, but then to have Big Show, Kane, and Ryback go over the Wyatts in this match made even less sense.
I suppose they were sending the message that you can't beat the Titans or the Giants or whatever they were calling themselves backstage, but that's a really crappy message to send, because with all due respect to all three of those guys, they've been around WWE forever. They've already gotten their shine. I would rather see even the goofs in the Wyatt family who aren't that good than any of these guys.
And not
horrible.
Have them face anybody else. Yeah, it was horrible.
Now, I'll ask Abby, maybe this is my perception, maybe I'm wrong, but there were a couple of points in this match that I thought Ryback was mocking CM Punk. Did you get that impression too?
Well, considering he'd been trolling him on Twitter last week, yeah, I think so. That high knee that he's doing, some of the other stuff, I don't know what they're doing with Ryback. He is about useless in my book. I don't know. The match itself just made no sense. You've got these guys who should be already collecting Social Security, and they're beating the guys who should be the next stars of the company. And I don't know what the hell WWE is thinking. Between that and the god-awful referee in the match, I don't know what's going on.
I don't even remember what the referee did that was so bad, but maybe that's because I have so little memory of the match other than thinking that Ryback was trying to imitate CM Punk, and that was what I focused on. What did the ref do?
Oh, the refs, I don't know what their deal is, and I think this is a WWE thing now. When the guy's shoulders are down, you're supposed to count. When the guy's shoulders are up, you're not supposed to count.
Right, you're supposed to call it like a shoot. That's their new rule.
Yeah, but I mean, and even the camera shots. Sunday night it was Harper's shoulder was up during the final count for that match. The same with Del Rio during, I think, the second fall, or either the first or second fall of the U.S. title match. And the thing is, the pictures they published of the event showed the shoulders being up.
Well, that just points out the second part of the rule that I just mentioned. You're supposed to call it like a shoot, except when you're not. Like, if they tell you not to, then you don't, but you're supposed to at all other times.
I don't know, that match just made me, whatever little morsel of investedness I had in the Wyatt family, it just made it go away.
Well, they could still get their heat back between now and Mania, but God knows how after this pay-per-view. They didn't give us anything to believe in, and we're Fireflies. We want to believe. It just didn't happen.
The one amusement that I did take out of this were the fans that were chanting Gilbert at Ryback. That was pretty funny. The Gilbert chants, thumbs up for Gilbert chants.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to totally rely on you guys for this next match because I was legitimately half asleep. I could not keep my eyes open for Charlotte and Brie Bella, and I'm sorry to both of them. Well, I'm mostly sorry to Charlotte, not so much Brie. But Jason, what happened here?
There was some shenanigans that was going on by Ric Flair, mostly just mental head games, like starting to come into the ring, pointing to Brie Bella, kind of interfering by not interfering.
I gotcha. So
That's kind of what I saw, and Charlotte ended up winning by the submission, the figure 8, when Brie Bella got distracted by Ric Flair. But yeah, this was crap.
So it was more of the daughter of the dirtiest player becoming the dirtiest player stuff.
Pretty much.
Abby?
It was just a bad match. I mean, Brie has improved a lot. I'll give her that. Charlotte, I think, has devolved since she's come to the main roster. Meaning, her talent level has had to go down based on who she's in the ring with, and neither one of these women look good. Neither one of them.
So, really, I missed nothing.
No, you didn't, except Brie wore Bryan's kick pads from WrestleMania. Either that or she was, channeling her inner Bruiser Brody. I'm not real sure which one.
No, I'm pretty sure I read that was Daniel Bryan's kick pads, and all I could think about that was it garners no sympathy from me. The fact that she and Daniel are married just makes me feel sorry for Daniel. It doesn't make me feel sympathy for her.
Pretty much.
All right, here's the point of contention that I'm going to have, and I think I know we're going to disagree, Abby, because we've disagreed on the previous matches they've had. But if I had to pick one and only one thing to celebrate about this pay-per-view, it would be AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho.
Well, then you just go over there and celebrate by yourself.
Why didn't you like it? What did you have against it?
Jericho, I don't know if it's the lifts he wears in his boots. I don't know if it is he has lost half a second in his timing. But this was, to me, I was not impressed. The two men can do so much more. And this was just sloppy. It was botchy. It was sloppy. It was not good to me.
Well, I've heard it said, and I don't know if I agree with this or not, so I'll give it to both of you to see if you agree with this statement or not. That it would have been better for AJ Styles to have had a month or two in NXT before he came to TV, because everybody in WWE works at a different speed, and he's not matching their speed. Whether he needs to speed up or slow down, they're not at the same speed when they're doing moves.
I will chime in here first. There is absolutely guys that move at his speed. Alberto Del Rio, who just got off his stint in AAA, who was, before working in Lucha Underground, he absolutely can work at the speed and the style that AJ Styles does. If you can swap out Chris Jericho for Alberto Del Rio, and it's going to do a lot more for both AJ Styles and for Alberto Del Rio. And they're going to be a better match in the ring because their styles are a lot more comparable than his is to the geriatric Chris Jericho, who looks like he has Montezuma's revenge every time he climbs the turnbuckles.
Abby, do you think it's a speed issue?
I think and I've said this from the beginning, from their first match on Raw, that it's Jericho. I don't know if Jericho is quasi-phoning some of this in, or if he thinks he's at the point where he doesn't have to tweak his style to make his opponent look good, or if he's literally just lost half a step. But I don't think AJ benefits from being in NXT, because NXT's style is completely different than the main roster. But there are guys that you can put him in the ring with that they're going to complement each other and not have it be where somebody is just off somewhere.
See, I can't think that Chris Jericho is phoning it in, because if Jericho's phoning it in, why is he going to take a Styles clash, and why is he going to let AJ go over him 2 out of 3 times? I mean, if he's phoning it in, he doesn't need to do any of those things.
Why is he going to take a Styles clash and kick out of the damn thing? Do you know how much that devalued that move? Just that one kick out.
That was a point of contention too, yeah.
I don't know. I guess I would take it in the way that it weakened him for the calf crusher to be applied. So, sort of like when Samoa Joe would do a pile driver and then lock in the coquina clutch. It's like, okay, either one could be a finisher, but one sets up the other.
But it's not supposed to have one set up the other. The Styles Clash is the finisher.
And
WWE just made it.
Somebody on Twitter had tweeted out, it took New Japan 2 years before somebody kicked out of the Styles Clash, but I'm not one to comment, just saying. That was the best tweet I saw.
All right, and I meant to say muscle buster instead of pile driver, so the whole internet can stop screaming at me. I just corrected myself. I'm sorry. We're all
But
tired.
So now it looks like they're making Jericho and AJ into a damn team. Because I'm sitting here looking at SmackDown right now, watching AJ and Mark Henry and Chris Jericho grind and dance in the ring, which has just pissed me off.
Well, I guess we'll just move on, because I didn't hate this match, but
I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't quite there.
Well, you see, I would have actually said that about the next segment, the Peep Show and the Cutting Edge coming together.
Oh, God.
I don't even know what they were coming together to do, to promote the Edge and Christian show, but I like what it is, but I didn't like how it was. Does that make sense?
I didn't like any of it. I mean, it was 10 minutes of my life that I'll never get back.
I like what it is in that I like Edge and Christian, so even when they're given bad comedy, I sort of still roll with it because of who they are. But on some level, I couldn't even get past it because the New Day, this was not one of their funnier segments, and then the League of Nations has nothing funny to say, and they're using this to promote a show? I mean, who's going to watch the show based on this? Jason, did you? Did either of you watch the show after Fastlane?
Again, this is some garbage that they could have thrown right onto the pre-show instead of having your WWE United States Championship being defended on the pre-show. I do also want to say that because I was very, very lazy, I just kept the network on and let the Edge and Christian show run after Fastlane was on. And the Edge and Christian show, while not very entertaining, was much, much, much more entertaining than anything I saw on Fastlane.
Yeah, well, it was definitely better than this segment, which is why I'm just horribly confused, is why you'd have a terrible segment promote a show that was better.
I think they were trying to get some kind of mess started up between Edge and Christian and New Day, and I guess set up this completely weird deal with New Day and League of Nations, but it just did not go over well at all.
The only thing that I've seen come out of it based on that is these skits that the New Day keeps putting up on YouTube now where they're impersonating members of the League of Nations.
Yeah, that's all I've seen too. So unless they're going into a program for WrestleMania, which I think is just stupid. I think that's the word of the night, is stupid. I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish with this.
Yeah, I don't know either. So maybe the less said about this segment, the better. But I really don't want to move on to Curtis Axel and R-Truth either, because when the Social Outcasts came on,
why?
Yeah, that was my reaction.
Good God, why?
Why? Like I'm just screaming at my television at this point because I was genuinely getting upset by Fastlane. Like, what? They're on this show. The social jobbers don't need to be on this show. They should have put the New Day in a match and have them come back out here and have a match. We don't need these guys.
Exactly. It's like they weren't on the card to begin with, and this is the surprise match you're going to give us. Curtis Axel with the rest of those that ginger guy with no soul, Heath Slater, that Russell Brand impersonator, Adam Rose, and I don't even know what to call Bo Dallas, but God.
Bo thinks
a disgrace to his family. That's what you call Bo Dallas.
Oh. See, that's going too far. I was going to say he's still trying to be the motivational guy, like the always do the right thing, but be real phony about it guy. So I still, deep down in my heart, I still appreciate the phony positivity of Bo Dallas. Something about that still clicks for me. Like the completely sincere
innocence. Barry sitting down in Florida.
I know it was an NXT gimmick that never should have been taken to the main roster, but the power of positivity, and you gotta believe. Just something about that still amuses me. But it doesn't work on TV. It doesn't work on Raw. It doesn't work on pay-per-view.
No, I can just see Barry Windham sitting down in Florida somewhere saying, next time I see my nephew, I'm whooping his ass.
All right, then. So, last, perhaps least, perhaps not, triple threat, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I said I found small things that were positives in Fastlane. I'd say a small positive was seeing Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose work together to powerbomb Lesnar through 2 different announce tables. I enjoyed that.
And that was not our friend Strigga at the German announce table.
It wasn't. Those two spots weren't bad, but the end of that match, it was like, seriously?
How in the fuck is Samoan Cena not going to sell, 3-4 chair shots? Just get up and spear him after 3 chair shots.
Hey, but
what
now
in
at least
the
it makes
actual
sense.
Fuck?
Now it makes sense what the body armor is for.
See,
is that the gimmick there?
I guess. How the fuck if I know?
I wouldn't even have a problem with him no-selling on Fastlane if it weren't for the fact that Triple H laid him out on the very next show we saw. And not only that, they did a kayfabe nose injury angle off of it.
With an obvious handoff of a blood capsule. That was impressive, but what's even more impressive was the face pop that Triple H got from doing that.
Well, of course, because nobody likes Roman right now. Like I said earlier, Austin said if they're going to shove him down our throat, they might as well turn him heel, but they won't do it. So Triple H becomes the de facto face, which I hate even more.
Things are just bizarro world in WWE when in 2016, Triple H holding the title and keeping it from the young up-and-comer guy is cheered as a babyface, and that the fans mark out for a McMahon possibly taking over Raw.
Well, I suppose we need to get to that in a second, but just closing thoughts on the triple threat, Abby. Just anything you want to say about it.
WWE missed the boat. I mean, the one good thing I can say coming out of that match is that we get Lesnar and Ambrose at WrestleMania.
No, I kind of like that idea. Clone Brock Lesnar and let him fight himself.
Let him fight himself, but I'm just imagining some of the promos between Heyman and Ambrose between now and then.
Yeah.
The match itself might be shitty, but the promos should be rather good.
I mean, I wouldn't even care if the match was shitty as long as Dean Ambrose just was a complete fucking lunatic in the ring. Like, it doesn't have to be a good match. He just has to go out there and not give a shit.
Yeah, if we get John Moxley during the match.
Yeah, mad for Moxley. I want a sign. I might even take that sign.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when, I believe, was it Jeff Hardy that he was taking on the Undertaker? I think it was Jeff Hardy taking on the Undertaker, and he just would not stay down. He would get his ass kicked. He'd get back up. He'd call the Undertaker back to the ring to kick his ass some more, and he just would refuse to stay down. And that's what Dean Ambrose is reminding me of here with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, in fact, I talked about that match on the Matt Mania podcast with Mega Ran. I cited that as my example of the moment that I really started to like Jeff Hardy, because he was more than just the guy in the Hardy Boys that did sick bumps at that point. He became a guy that I invested in because he stood up to the Undertaker, and the Undertaker showed him respect at the end of that match. But we didn't see that with Brock Lesnar. He didn't come over and shake Dean Ambrose's hand after the match.
No, he
came over and gave him an F5.
Okay, so we've hinted at this already. The next night on Raw, they did an opening segment to present the Vincent J. McMahon Legacy of Excellence Award. And Stephanie is the recipient, which obviously proves it's a complete work, because why did they need to present her with an award when she's already COO, CEO, whatever her official title is, and the head of the creative team and the on-screen authority figure for all things? She doesn't need an award on top of that. So this was all entirely a setup, cue the huge pop, for Shane McMahon to come out and interrupt her. Now, I'm not going to take credit for this happening, but I'm going to say something funny that happened because of Shane McMahon showing up. A few days ago, before this all happened, before Shane McMahon arrived on Raw, his name came up on an episode of Wrestling Observer Live. And Brian Alvarez got apoplectic about it and didn't understand why people keep asking him about Shane McMahon. So I sent him a text message, not one that I necessarily thought would be read on the air, but he went ahead and read it anyway, and I said that the reason people miss Shane McMahon is because he took a million crazy bumps that we all remember and love, and we never got to say goodbye. Daniel Bryan got a farewell, Shane McMahon did not. And Bryan threw a fit on Monday's Observer Live before Raw went to air. He's like, Daniel Bryan? Really? No. Do people really care this much about Shane McMahon? Nobody cares this much about Shane McMahon. There's not a person that cares this much about Shane McMahon. Boy, did I have a hearty laugh when Shane showed up. Go ahead, Abby.
Yeah, that pop that he got was rather impressive.
Right. I think Brian got proven wrong. People do give a shit about Shane O'Mac.
And if there's one thing that Shane O'Mac also has proved outside of the ring is that he is not afraid to take on his father, like we saw when he kayfabe bought WCW out from under his father's nose.
Exactly. And that is the reason that we all fondly remember Shane McMahon is like, he was the McMahon in our corner. He wasn't the spoiled daughter. He wasn't the stuck-up billionaire. He wasn't the weaselly son-in-law. Shane McMahon was our McMahon. He was the people's McMahon.
Was I the only one that thought the child abuse angle to that segment was kind of creepy?
Yeah, well, there were several different creepy things about it, but why don't you go ahead about that one?
But he was talking about remembering when Vince McMahon was, I guess when he was a kid and Vince would whip his ass or something, and then Vince McMahon, I believe, dropped an F-bomb when he was talking to him and telling him about the whoopings he'd give him, and it was just creepy.
Yeah, he actually did say, "I'll fucking whip your ass," and it got bleeped out, but people who were there in the arena filming it uploaded clips of it, so it was censored on broadcast, but like 15,000 people live in the building all heard Vince McMahon swear, and my immediate response when I saw the clip was, you know what, Vince? Suspend yourself for 60 days.
There you go, yeah.
What a hypocrite. He's gonna suspend Titus O'Neil for shoving him just to get him out of Stephanie's way, but he's not gonna take any action for him cursing on live television.
Just messed
He's the boss.
up.
He can do what he wants to do.
With that Vincent J. McMahon award, I thought there was one of two ways they were going to do it. They were either going to bring Titus back and give him the award and bury the hatchet, or Vince McMahon was going to give it to himself. So I applaud Vince McMahon for not giving it to himself.
That's the textbook definition of a small positive right there.
They got the microscope, the electron microscope. I'm looking at the quarks here. Right next to the quark is Vince McMahon not giving himself the award.
All right. Well, let me talk about where this is going as opposed to talking about the rest of Raw, because I think where it's going is actually more interesting than the next 2.5 hours of this show, and that's that they seem to be hinting Shane McMahon is going to take over Raw if he wins the match with Undertaker, and the Authority is going to take over SmackDown, and they're going to do a brand versus brand extension again. In 2016, they're going to do brand extension again. Abby, do you think this will work?
It's not going to happen. That was kind of shot down earlier today.
Okay, I might have missed the memo on that. Who shot it down and how?
I think Meltzer did. It appears Shane's only sticking around through Mania, so that would kind of indicate that he's going to lose.
The last update I got was that he was signed to stay beyond Mania, and that was from the Observer. So there might be a second update that I missed.
What I wrote when I got home from work this afternoon was that he was due to stick around through Mania and no longer. He was going to be on the March 7th episode of Raw. But yeah, I'd heard about the brand split, and it's like, it would kind of make sense if you have SmackDown be what it used to be, the wrestling show. Mm-hmm. But, with the call-ups from NXT going there, but then it got shot down again, and I don't think WWE knows what they're doing right now.
No.
So I tell you what I'd like to see come out of this match at WrestleMania between Shane McMahon and The Undertaker. Although I don't give WWE enough credit to be this creative or this smart to book it, but you have two special enforcers hit the ring to help Shane get the victory over The Undertaker. Any guesses to who those two special enforcers are?
Pete Gas and Joey Abs?
No. Carl
Bullet
Anderson
Club.
and Doc Gallows.
Oh, new Bullet Club for WWE. We get the long-awaited Balor Club.
Exactly.
Or Bulletproof.
That would be the perfect way to introduce Doc and Carl. Have them come in and help Shane beat The Undertaker.
Well, I have heard it said that if this was going to be a brand extension angle, you would actually have Undertaker sacrifice himself for the greater good, but how that plays into him getting a 3-on-1 beating, that's not much of a sacrifice. That's him getting overwhelmed.
And truth be told,
how they're going to do it.
I thought it would have made more sense for Vince McMahon to say, you know what, I have two enemies on the show, and I'm going to have them take each other out. Instead of putting Shane McMahon in there with The Undertaker, put him in there with Brock Lesnar, and either way, one of Vince's enemies is eliminated.
I don't think Vince wants to kill his son. Maybe not. You never can tell with that family.
Yeah, I was about to say, that might not be too much of a stretch. Well, I'm done spent on WWE. I don't have anything else to say about it after that. So unless you guys have any other WWE topics, I think we can call it a show.
That works for me, because I don't even think that stupid Roman Reigns thing at the end of the show is worth talking about.
No, just mad props to Abby, because I was a few beers in when I was watching Raw, but she perfectly called the Dean Ambrose driving back in an ambulance spot, and lo and behold, it happened.
Okay, I will admit I did pop a little bit for that. It was a little too Steve Austin driving the beer truck into Raw, but I did pop for it anyway.
Yeah, he's got a habit of commandeering vehicles, cop cars, dump trucks, ambulances.
Yeah, and to me that was the Stone Cold gimmick, was to find whatever had wheels and drive it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Raw, that's Fastlane, that's New Japan. That's clearly the winner this week is New Japan Pro Wrestling by a landslide.
Yes.
And it's only getting better from here too. It's like we had three very mediocre shows from New Japan that were just leaps and bounds above the crap that WWE gave us, but we have the New Japan Cup coming up, so things are going to vastly improve for New Japan.
My bullet point for the evening is going to be when Juice Robinson has a better match than everybody on WWE Fastlane, they never should have let him go.
He's doing really well in New Japan. Yeah, I don't remember much about him from NXT as CJ Parker, or if he was doing anything at all there, but he's certainly carving out a niche for himself in New Japan, and I applaud him for it.
He wasn't. He was standing outside of takeover events holding up signs about the environment. That's what he was doing.
It just shows you that Gato knows how to book talent.
Go ahead, Abby.
The only thing he did was break Kevin Owens' nose on Kevin's debut, so.
That's right. I'd forgotten about that, but he did.
That's his claim to fame in NXT. I broke Kevin's nose.
He should actually market that as a t-shirt if he ever comes back. Oh, he did?
He did. Yeah, he did.
How did I not get one? I need that t-shirt.
They might still have it at Pro Wrestling Tees. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was a shirt.
I'll check it out. I'll go look for that. But since we're plugging things already, ProWrestlingTees.com, Abby, plug all the stuff that you do.
Oh, Top Rope Press, Ringside News, Pro Wrestling Authority. Y'all can find me on Twitter at AbbeyBrook2121. Most days I'm fully caffeinated and full of sarcasm, but maybe not for the rest of the week. I might be taking a breather.
Yeah,
I might be wrestled out.
I wish I could take a breather, but I've still got to cover Bellator tomorrow night, so I'm going to be highly caffeinated for one more day before I get to crash.
Oh, hell, that's right. Ring of Honor's 14th anniversary is tomorrow. I will probably be around for that. So.
Brutal.
Yes, it is. But not brutal. VeggieBending.wordpress.com.
Yeah, check out my cooking blog, VeggieBending.wordpress.com. I just posted an Avatar/Red Dwarf mashup recipe for vindaloo. So if you like Indian, you like curries, go check that out, VeggieBending.wordpress.com. Along with my partner in crime there, Abby Brook, I do tweet myself on Twitter live during the New Japan events. I am at Great Sudoku. What else do I want to plug? PaperDollsPenPals.com. If you want to write to women in prison as pen pals, have a felonious female for a pen pal, Paper Dolls Pen Pals will hook you up, and it's completely free. You don't have to sign up or nothing.
Is that a real thing?
That's a real thing.
Why are you promoting it then?
Instead of promoting New Japan, you're promoting women in prison.
This is like a Jordan J. Garber gimmick. Like, what? I don't even understand right now.
Just out of left field with that one. And yeah, New Japan World, NJPWWorld.com, the best 999 yen you can spend a month.
Right. And of course, we always do the yen to dollar conversion when you bring that up. So at the current market rate, 999 yen is $8.85. So for less than a couple of talls at Starbucks for less than the cost of a month of WWE Network, you can see something so much better than Fastlane.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Just like Daniel Bryan would say, yes, yes, yes. So yes,
if you really want to, you can go back and watch from Wrestle Kingdom 10, a great match between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, where a match just, not more than, say, 2 months ago was a match of the year candidate. So you can see AJ Styles at his best.
So on that note, we're going to wrap it up Thursday night AMP for myself, for the great Abby, and the great Sudoku. Thank you both for being here, and thank you all for listening. Have a good night, everybody.